If you're somebody who isn't confident with their flirting or simply wants to get better at it so you can create more attraction with women to achieve your dream dating life, I'm gonna be breaking down all the different concepts around flirting in this video to show you guys a variety of different techniques, as well as what I do recommend doing, what works, and most importantly, what doesn't work, all right? I've spent over 10 years studying these concepts, applying them into my own life. I've made a massive transformation personally, and I've also coached over 1,000 men since 2018. So I know what works and what doesn't work. I'm gonna be breaking all of it down inside of this video. And if you guys wanna learn more about my transformation, the clients I help, or how I can help you achieve your dream dating life, check out the in-depth training I put down below. The link is in the description. Click that link, watch that video for an opportunity to work with me directly. Let's get into this one. Starting out with number one on this list is going to be playfully teasing a woman. Now, I think this technique is great for so many different reasons. First of which being is that teasing can be looked at as the bridge between logical platonic conversation and man to woman interaction. I think a lot of guys are stuck on friendly, nice, boring get to know you talk, and they don't know how to just transition into actually making things more flirty and more man to woman or more emotionally stimulating. And so an easy way to bridge that gap without putting pressure on yourself is to start being more playfully teasing in your interaction. Some easy ways to do this is to playfully disagree. So actually just disagreeing with her in a fun way, to playfully dismiss her, to actually be like, okay, like I gotta go, or okay, that's all, you're done. Or to playfully be disappointed with her, like being so upset with whatever her answer was, or to playfully disqualify her, to actually tell her that this isn't gonna work out between the two of us, or we can't be friends, or we can't hang out. All of these are playfully teasing the woman, and I think these are great ways to start injecting more emotions into the interaction, to get away from boring platonic logical talk and to start moving us in the direction of flirting. So for this very first concept, I'm actually starting off the video with an S-tier technique: playfully tease. Let's move into the next one, which is giving her a unique compliment. So pointing out something that you really like about the woman that's unique. It's most likely not gonna be a physical thing, but if it's unique, it's probably gonna be her outlook on life, some sort of level of ambition that she has, or some kind of unique interest that she has, like something that you could compliment her outside of just the physical about the woman. I do think that that is a good thing to do, but when it comes to actually flirting, I don't think that that's that powerful of a concept. I do think it's a nice piece to the puzzle that should be there when it comes to dating women. But if I'm looking at just straight up ways to flirt, I don't think that this is gonna be that flirty. I think it's actually not flirty at all, honestly. So it's a good thing. I just think in terms of this video and the theme, I'm actually putting this at the bottom. I'm putting this in the C tier. Let's move into the next one, which is using their name often. Now, we all know people love to hear their name being said. And so common advice that you hear is actually saying someone's name often is a great way to make them feel better around you. And I agree to some extent. I don't think that you should be spamming their name in an interaction. I think if you met somebody, saying their name back to them at least one time, or throughout the course of a date, you could say their name at some point. Like, come on, Jess, what are you talking about? Right? Like, it's okay to say their name. I don't think that saying their name often is a great tool for flirting personally, so I would actually put this rather low. I think it's a good thing, another piece to the puzzle, I guess you could say, but still pretty low. I'm putting this at the bottom of the B tier, slightly above the unique compliment. It's a little bit better, but it's still really, really low. Let's move into the next one, which is gonna be being direct. So that could be like approaching a girl and actually just being direct, or I guess this could also be interpreted as being a little bit more direct or blunt about how you're feeling towards her, like in the middle of the interaction. Now, I think this is okay. Like, I actually think opening direct and practicing approaching and doing direct opens is an extremely intimidating thing that is completely outside of most men's comfort zone. So I think there's a lot of growth around the idea of being direct and opening direct and getting comfortable with that. I don't think it's the most effective form in terms of like ways to flirt. I do think it's a necessary step that a lot of men need to go through. There's a lot of men, myself included, when I was earlier on in my journey, I was afraid to display intent. I was afraid to flirt. I was afraid to open direct. There was no way I was doing a direct approach. So for me, getting over that process and getting really comfortable with approaching and displaying intent, it actually taught me how to be a better flirt. So I think it's really good for so many different reasons. I do think that being direct in the middle of the interaction, I don't think that that's good though. I think practicing direct opens is great. I think just being direct in the middle of the interaction is actually pretty beginner level. In fact, at an advanced level, you should know how to kind of be the opposite of direct in the interaction. You could very subtly sprinkle things in and have the right frames and misinterpretation and all the different concepts I'm gonna lay out in this video. And so for all of those reasons, I'm actually gonna be putting this one at the top end of the B tier. Let's move into the next one, which is gonna be light innuendos. Now, I think this is great. I think most men don't use innuendos enough, and it's a great way to get away with making sexual jokes or implying some sort of sexual thing without being too vulgar or being too blunt or being too aggressive or being overly sexual. So innuendos is really good because most women are actually smarter when it comes to sexual jokes. They're slightly more perverted, and they just naturally understand these concepts more than a lot of men. Like, before I ever practiced any of this stuff, I was very oblivious to innuendos, and I was very sexually inexperienced, and I just didn't understand any of it, and so much of it just kind of went over my head. As I built up the skill set and I got more comfortable with these things, I noticed that in my interactions I could make things a lot more sexual and have a lot more subtle innuendos without blatantly putting pressure on the girl or displaying any sort of sexual interest towards the woman, and it was very accepted in the interaction. So I think innuendos is great when it's done properly. You don't want to make it so obvious where you have to, like, you know, wink, wink kind of a thing. Like, it should be done subtly, but it is a very powerful thing. I'm going to put this actually in the A tier. Let's move into the next one, which is asking fun questions or funny questions. Now, I think that that's good because it's going to provoke emotion. So when it comes to flirting, anything that provokes emotion and smiling and laughing and giggling, like, that is all a great step in the right direction. It's not going towards man to woman flirting, but it is haha funny flirty, which is better than boring platonic logical, right? So I don't think it's the best technique, but I do think it's similar to teasing in a sense that it's starting to provoke the right emotions that we want. Not quite as powerful as teasing, but this could be a good stepping stone to start moving us in the right direction. So I'm actually going to put this into the B tier. Let's move into the next one, which is gonna be open-ended curiosity. So if you're asking questions, you're getting to know the girl, just having some sort of deep curiosity around things so you guys could maybe connect on a deeper level. I actually don't think this has any level of flirtatiousness in it. I could see how some guys may use this as a technique on a date if you're like thinking that that's gonna create attraction with women, but ironically, like, just connecting on deeper levels doesn't make things flirty. And that's where I struggled when I was younger. I would run these really long dates where I really connected with the women because I had a lot of genuine authenticity, and I was being a little vulnerable, and I was very curious about her situation, but none of those things was sparking attraction. My dates weren't actually getting flirty, they weren't getting man to woman, they weren't getting sexual. I was getting friend zoned, I was getting a lot of, you're a great guy, but you know, I think it's best if we don't see each other anymore. I'm focusing on myself kind of thing. So I don't think that this is flirty at all. It's a good thing to have, but in terms of flirting, I'm actually putting this at the bottom. This is gonna be in the C tier. Let's move into the next one. We got the Wii Frame, or hypothetical scenarios about you and the woman together. This is, in my opinion, extremely, extremely powerful, because the idea of us being together doing things in the positive or in the negative is the closest thing to man to woman, right? If it's man to woman, that's talking around the premise of us dating and doing things together. The context of a man and a woman dating or mating is what make things man to woman. So you can have running, ongoing jokes that you guys are gonna do this thing, or you know why we would never work out is because, like, I'm more this type and you're this type, so when we do this thing, it would just be a complete disaster. Or you could have a hypothetical kind of funny scenario, like if she says that Greece was her favorite place, and later on we're talking about traveling, and maybe we joke that we're gonna like butt heads too much. You can throw these jokes as callback, and you can keep reusing them. Like if you find out that she likes Game of Thrones, or you find out that she likes a certain food, or you find out that she really can't swim, or anything like that, you could stack these ideas into this ongoing hypothetical joke. So you could just, you throw these ideas into a hypothetical scenario about you and the girl, and it becomes really powerful. The other reason that it's powerful is because you can bring these up in the negative. And so if I was to try to tell her, me and you are gonna go on our next date and it's gonna be great, that sounds like I have an agenda and I'm really hoping and pushing for us to go on the next date. But if I talk about us doing something in the future and it's not going to work out, I actually presented the idea of us hanging out, but I didn't say that it's gonna go well. So it still introduces an idea of us doing something, but it's not in a try hard pushy way because it's not gonna work out. All right, and especially if the girl's really attractive and she's used to having guys trying to like beg and persuade and over pursue them, you come off as a guy that's really not that try hard. So for all of these different reasons, introducing the idea of you and the girl together doing things, positive or negative, extremely powerful. I'm putting this into the S tier, hands down, awesome, awesome technique. Let's move into the next one, which is gonna be sitting down with your arm around her. So this is like a stereotypical move, like just you're kicking it somewhere, you're on a park bench, you're at the movie theater, you're sitting on the couch somewhere and you just kind of got her arm around you. Now the thing I actually like about arm around the shoulder is it can be casual, it can be chill, it's not try hard, it gets her comfortable with a little bit of physical touch. The mistake though is that guys do this for so long. You definitely don't want to be just chilling back, holding this position if she's not already comfortable with you. And I think, to me, this isn't really flirting. This is like, honestly, an over escalation. So I'd much rather there's a little bit of touch and maybe there was like a moment where you gave her like a hug, or you just had her, maybe you guys were on the bench talking and you were kind of like massaging, just lightly grazing your hand over her shoulder and touching the back of her neck a little bit, and then you rest it for a minute. That's cool, you can do that. Don't hang your heavy ass arm pulling down on her neck. Put it more on the armrest of the bench. Give her some space with that, and don't keep it there too long. That's like a little move you could do, but I definitely wouldn't go too deep with that one. I'm not crazy about this. I don't think this makes the interaction any more flirty either, personally. I'm putting this at the bottom. This is the C tier. Let's move into the next one, which is imitation, mimicking the girl, trolling the girl, like making fun of her in a certain way. Awesome technique. Anytime you can imitate the girl in a playful way where she does something funny or silly or dumb or ditzy, I love this one. If you can call her out because she has like some funny accent, or she giggles a certain way, or she makes a funny face, or she gets a certain answer, or her voice got really high pitched, or anything like that, you can imitate her or mimic her, and then you laugh after over the top, and it really hits hard. I love doing this one. Oftentimes in the beginning of the interactions, I'll imitate the woman. I go up to her and I do display intent, but I'll even tell her, I saw you sitting back looking really cute, and you know, you were just kind of like laying back with your hair blowing in the wind. You make it kind of like a funny thing with the way you imitate them, and it really is a unique compliment, but it's also a little fun and playful. Doesn't need to be at the beginning of the interaction. Anytime there's an opportunity to imitate her or mimic her because she did some weird facial expression or gesture or voice type thing, please utilize this one. Awesome, awesome way to tease her, because you're not really doing anything. You're literally just replicating what she did, and you just point it out and make fun of her for it. So that's an awesome one. I love this technique. I do it pretty frequently. I'm putting this in the A tier. Let's move into the next one, which is the idea of that's what she said. Now, I think the idea of that's what she said and saying that over and over and over again is not an effective way of flirting. You could sprinkle this in one time if it really makes sense, all right? And it could actually be funny. If it works out properly, then do it. But if it's dumb and it's you just being immature and like a little bit pervy, then that is not the right time to use this, and definitely don't do it multiple times. Like, that's just like too much. What I do like, the only thing I like about this is it's like it's an innuendo, sort of. I'd much rather there's other innuendos you could do, but this is more just like a little bit of a sexual joke, which it can work, but it's just not really, there's a very rare time and a place to inject this into an interaction, I would say. And for that reason, I'm putting this at the bottom of the B tier. Let's move into the next one, which is gonna be misinterpretation. So the woman says something and then you misinterpret what she said as if she was hitting on you, as if she was flirting with you, as if she was inviting you to do something, as if she's really attracted to you, right? Anytime that you have an opportunity to misinterpret what she said and you say it back to her in a flirty way as if she was hitting on you or attracted to you or inviting you to do the thing, please utilize this. It is extremely powerful. The reason it's so powerful is because you're not actually trying to flirt with her. You're not displaying intent with her. You're simply acting, even though it's done playfully and flirty, you're simply acting as if she is more attracted to you. And that is one of the best ways to make an interaction flirty without giving away any power. See, some of the other techniques we talked about, like displaying intent, being more direct, escalating physically, those are all moves that you need to do on her, which are good. You can do that, and I think you should do that. But if it's only those, then it's a lot of you pushing, and trying. The beautiful thing about misinterpretation and like innuendos is it's not really you trying to do something on her. It's actually flipping the script and it's acting as if she's the one trying to do it on you. I had a client call recently. We were breaking down a recording of his interaction, and the woman who was traveling across country over the last month said something like, yeah, I don't think I would do this again, just because I would need somebody in the car with me that was like good with mechanics in the car. There was a lot of maintenance I couldn't keep up with. And I paused the recording. I told him, man, misinterpret that as if she's inviting you. So you could have said something like, is that you like low-key inviting me to come on your next road trip with you, Jess? I don't know, like maybe we should just hang out first. And then you guys could laugh about it, and then you could say, yeah, but you know, if all goes well, I'm down to go on the road trip with you. And then what you could also do, just to stack this into previous concepts, is now we have this ongoing hypothetical situation of us going on a road trip, and now any new information that I find out about her, I could throw into the ongoing joke that we have. So let's just say there's another thing I find out, that she likes to give massages, or she likes to cuddle, or she likes to cook food, or she is like super neat, or she's super messy, like anything. I could now add that into the joke later on. Like I find out that she's really messy, I would say, oh damn, I didn't realize you were so messy. Look, I don't know if I could go on that road trip with you. The car is gonna be all sloppy and stuff, right? Or if you find out she's a good cuddler, you'd be like, oh shit, wait, you're a good cuddler? Or oh shit, you give massages? Damn, you know, actually now I might have to take you up on that road trip. You know, we hit a couple pit stops, a little massage, a little cuddle before bed. Damn, you're really making this tempting on me. So you see how I could take these concepts, and now I have an ongoing running joke about her trying to persuade me to go on this trip with her. And it's just really powerful. Anytime I bring it back up, it becomes flirty, and I'm not constantly having to pedestalize her with intent and intent and intent. So it's a great way to flirt with a woman, extremely powerful. I'm putting this at the S tier, one of the best techniques you could ever do when the opportunities are there. Let's move into the next one, which is gonna be making her laugh. Now, just by making her laugh, the interaction isn't really flirty, but laughter is a great emotion that is very closely related to flirtatiousness, arousal, being relaxed, having fun. All of those things are in the same direction, right? Boring, platonic, stale, logical, all of that is the complete opposite direction. So anytime you could be moving towards more emotion, you're headed in the right direction. And although it is not flirty itself, it is extremely close. And for that reason, I'm actually putting making her laugh in the A tier, because it is very similar. Let's move into the next one, which is slow, soft, and smile. So this is referring to the way that you talk. So having periods in the interaction where you're talking slow, you're actually slowing down, and there's pauses, then talking soft, like actually softening up your voice from time to time, and then adding in a smile. So doing all of those simultaneously while you're talking to the woman, which is extremely powerful, because really a lot of the flirtatious emotion isn't necessarily created by the words. A lot of what we've talked about so far is a lot of words and touching. This is more nonverbals, and the nonverbals of flirting is slow, soft, smile. So 100%, this is absolute mandatory. If you're gonna make any of these concepts flirty, you gotta be able to make sure you have the right nonverbal delivery in place to create that flirtatious emotion. So absolute necessity. I'm putting this in the S tier as well. Let's move into the next one, which is being mysterious, or saying something like, guess you'll have to find out next time, right? I think personally, this is a little cheesy. It could work. I think the idea of being mysterious on a date isn't that good. I know there's a lot of concepts out there online around the idea of being mysterious. I personally don't think it's that great, honestly. Saying something like, guess you'll have to find out next time, if it's relevant and we were already talking about how we're gonna hang out next time, I guess it could be good, but as a standalone technique to flirting, this is not that good, and I think you need to have a lot more stuff going on in your arsenal. So there's much better concepts going on in this video, but overall, I'm putting this at the bottom of the B tier, borderline coming up on a C. You're definitely gonna need to get better with the other concepts in this video if you wanna actually create attraction with women. And if you're at a point right now where you're not creating enough attraction with women, like you're not actually approaching, you're not going on dates, or you're not dating the quality of women that you want in your life, I can help you make that transformation. Click the link down below for an opportunity to work with me directly. I have an in-depth video on that page where I talk more about my transformation, the clients I help, and how I can help you get real results in your own dating life right now. Click that link below to achieve your dream dating life. Let's get into the next one, which is celebration type high fives or hugs. So there's like a high point in the date and you give her a high five or you give her a hug. Can that work? Yeah, actually there's a time and a place where it makes sense. I don't think that this is the best tool when it comes to flirting. Some of it can be try hard. Like I don't want to keep giving high fives. For me personally, it really needs to be fitting. It's an easy way to break the touch barrier. And you know, hugs can work at the right time. So I do think it's a tool that you could use to get a little bit more physical. You create a little bit more touch. There could be a nice little emotion if it was like a sweet moment. You're like, oh shit, come here. Oh, that's so sweet of you, come here, right? Like there's moments where the hug could work. There's moments where the high five could work. I don't think it's that flirty. It's a good little tool to have in your back pocket, only for certain times. Definitely don't be dependent on this one. I'm putting this one at the bottom of the B tier. Let's move into the next one, which is prolonged eye contact. I think this is a mandatory skill set. You need to be able to look the woman straight in her eyes for an extended period of time, even when you're not talking. That is necessity if you're gonna be able to create tension, if you're gonna be able to display sexual competence, if you're gonna be able to create a flirtatious energy in your communication. It's all in the eyes, man. I can't, if I'm not able to look here and my eyes are darting and I just can't maintain that prolonged, it's gonna be really difficult to properly flirt and create high levels of arousal and attraction. So I'm putting this at the top of the A tier. I think this is an absolute mandatory skill set. Me personally, I sucked with my eye contact. I could not hold eye contact. I even avoided hanging out with a childhood friend of mine for a long period of time because when we would hang out, he was really good with his eye contact. And I would be like afraid to go to his house if it was just us two, because he would always be looking me deep in my eyes and I would be like fucking uncomfortable. Not because he was doing it in a sexual way, I just had really, really weak, insecure eye contact. That's how bad it was. So that's something you're gonna need to practice and build up that skill set. But once you get good at it, prolonged eye contact, absolute necessity. Putting this at the A tier. Let's move into the next one, which is gonna be flirting in the negative. So I think this is a great one too. This is essentially saying something to the girl in a flirty way, but telling her to not do that thing. Something like, stop giving me that look. Stop looking at my lips like that. Stop wafting your hair in front of me like that. Please stop showering me with compliments. You're just trying to like butter me up, right? Anything like that is great because it ties back to what I was saying earlier in this video, which is all of these are implying that the woman is hitting on you. The woman is trying to flirt with you. The woman is trying to seduce you, which is not you displaying intent, pushing, hoping that she likes you. So anytime you can make it on her and tell her to stop doing this thing, or I see what you're doing there. That was clever. Oh, that was good. Or is that you trying to seduce me? Or is that you trying to like butter me up? Is that you trying to get me drunk? Is that you, anything like that? Really, really powerful concepts. I'm putting this one in the S tier. Let's move into the next one, which is light, casual touch. Now, this is a great one too. There's a right way and a wrong way to do this. I would recommend doing this as early on as possible in an interaction. Do not wait a crazy amount of time to start light, casual touch, especially on a date. Now look, you go up to a girl in the middle of the daytime, you shouldn't be getting that touchy, especially in the beginning of an interaction. That is a little much. But on dates or on a night out when you meet a girl, light, casual touch, similar to high five or just light hand on the shoulder, playful push away, a little arm bump, playful little hip check if you're on like the dance floor or something. Like all of that is great. And I encourage you to do that as early on as possible. Do not wait hours into a date to start having light casual touch. It's casual and it's light for a reason, but it should be started as early on as possible because then I can inject multiple points of physicality, which will then lead up to higher and higher points of us getting closer and more intimate. So it's a necessary step, but I also think it needs to happen as early on as possible. So light casual touch, I'm putting in the A tier. Let's move into the next one, which is mirroring her body language. So this idea of mirroring or reciprocating her body language back to her is this concept that's supposed to make other people feel more comfortable around you. Your body language is similar to how they are, and it's like this unconscious thing that they can relax because they feel like they're talking to someone that's very similar to their emotional state and mood, right? And so that's why mirroring can be a powerful technique. I personally don't really do this, nor do I think that this is a great form of flirting. I think mirroring could be okay as a means of making someone feel more comfortable, but I never would mirror someone. Instead, what I would actually do is I can assess their body language and I can adjust my body language accordingly. I typically don't mirror body language, but if I feel like she's uncomfortable, I'm going to rock back. Like I'll use body rocking, or I will slightly pivot away so I'm not so squared up. Or there's been countless times on my channel where you'll see me open over the shoulder or to the side. Those are adjustments based on a situation or the girl's comfort level. I am very rarely mirroring them though. I don't like that technique personally. I think there's better techniques that have a more powerful effect. And I also just don't think it's flirty at all. So I'm actually putting this in the C tier. Let's move into the next one, which is gonna be leaning in slightly when talking soft. So actually dropping your voice down and moving in just a little bit closer to say something. I really like this technique. Now, if you just move in closer, it's kind of weird. So dropping your voice down and then getting in a little bit closer, almost as if you were gonna like tell them a secret, which is a little bit different. That's whispering in her ear, which is actually ironically, it is the next one. So they're kind of similar. I think whispering in her ear is also a great technique. It's a little more obvious what you're doing though. And so that is also powerful. It allows you to get in really close to her. It allows you to talk a little bit softer, a little bit more seductive, a little bit more flirty for a second. So I really like that, but I also like dropping your voice down and just leaning in just a little bit, because it just creates the right effect. It creates a more man to woman dynamic, creates a little bit more flirtatious, creates a little bit more, I guess you could even say like masculine presence. It's a little bit of like, if it's done the right way. If you do it from like a corny, unconfident way, it's a little weird. But if it's done from a confident place, it can be very sexy when it's done properly with the right timing. So I think leaning in slightly when talking soft, really powerful technique. I would even probably put this in the S tier, honestly. Like when it's done at the right time, creates a really good impact. Whisper in her ear, I'd probably put this slightly below in the A tier. Also another good one as well. Let's move into playing with your hair or accessories. I don't think that this is flirty. Playing with accessories, no, I don't think that this is flirty at all. Maybe if the girl was playing with her hair a little bit, that could be potentially an indicator of interest. I wouldn't look too deep into that. I think guys are like over-analyzing body language, and if she's touching a certain place and she's like doing these things, unless we're talking about bedroom accessories, I don't think any of this is flirty at all, honestly. I'm putting this in the C tier. Let's move on. Moving into, we got a couple more here. Let's go into the next one. Good posture / open body language. I was talking about this earlier when we were talking about mirroring body language. I think good posture is essential. I think having open body language is essential. These are like foundational pieces. I don't think that this is flirty at all, but it is worth noting, guys, like pay attention to your body language. You should be comfortable. You should be standing confident. You should have nice, wide open body language, which will then make the other person more relaxed. And that's a fundamental foundational piece to even get into a position where things could be flirty. But just as this as a standalone way to flirt, this is very low. I'm actually putting this in the C tier. Let's move into the next one, which is gonna be the idea of push-pull, one of the most classic flirting techniques. I love this concept. I think it's one of the most powerful. I don't think men push away enough. I think a lot of men are too pull, I guess you could say, which is like displaying intent and like pedestalizing or like over-sexualizing or over-escalating. I think guys either don't do anything at all, like they literally are just a nice, polite guy that never escalates, and so you just get friend zoned, or guys are very blunt or obvious with their flirting. Push-pull is a great way to balance things out. Being able to push the girl away playfully while still injecting intent is one of the most powerful things you could do. There was a period where I got a little carried away with it, and I started doing it too much, and I had all these lines written down, and I was doing it a lot as a means of learning the technique, which is an important part to it, because if you're not used to actually doing push-pull, it might seem unnatural. I have a lot of guys that tell me like, oh, this seems forced or this doesn't seem natural. It's not natural to you because you're not used to flirting. When you get good at these concepts, eventually you don't need to say the lines anymore and you just kind of learn the concept and you internalize the concept, and then you can really flirt from a very congruent place, right? That's what I do with a lot of clients. I listen to their conversations, I break them down, we inject flirtatiousness that is aligned with his vibe and personality type, but then over time, it will become more and more natural. And then my clients, they have a very congruent style of flirting where they don't need to think about it anymore and they're not that gamey. So push-pull is a great concept. Don't be too gamey with it. If you're going through a learning phase, it's okay, but over time, you'll definitely become more of a natural that way. And I think a lot of guys see me as a natural flirt. I was never the natural flirt, guys, never. I'm telling you, I had a massive progression over a really long period of time. I was not good with this stuff, but push-pull is great. I'm putting this in the S tier class. And if you're at a point right now where you're not creating enough attraction with women, like you're not actually approaching, you're not going on dates, or you're not dating the quality of women that you want in your life, I can help you make that transformation. Click the link down below for an opportunity to work with me directly. I have an in-depth video on that page where I talk more about my transformation, the clients I help, and how I can help you get real results in your own dating life right now. Click that link below to achieve your dream dating life. Let's move into the next one, letting silences linger. This is great, like being able to build tension. We were talking about earlier prolonged eye contact. That is necessary in order to let silences linger. You don't want to look away and be looking around and letting the silences linger when you're not holding eye contact. Like, that's fucking weird, right? It goes hand in hand with prolonged eye contact. So you finish a sentence and you guys have a moment, like a half second or a full second, where you guys just kind of are still looking in each other's eyes and you're not nervous. You're just sitting there very comfortable with a little bit of a smirk on your face. And then at some point, the next part of the conversation goes. It's an awesome way to create tension, necessary part of building tension. And so for all of those reasons, I'm putting this in the A tier. Let's move into the next one. Kiss on the cheek, kiss on her hand, or kiss on her forehead. Awesome technique, honestly. It's a very underrated technique. I think like guys think it might sound weird, the idea of kissing on the cheek or kissing on the hand. Like if you only do that with like, I don't know, like your daughter or like a relative or some shit. But I think it's a great one, honestly. I often tell guys, like, if you're not able to actually kiss a girl, I think one of the best techniques is to get more comfortable and just go for the kiss on the cheek. Because if you could get her comfortable with the kiss on the cheek, you're already, you've broken the kiss barrier, and the actual final kiss is not a big deal. And even if kiss on the hand or kiss on the forehead sounds weird to you guys, it's not. Like if you're going on the date and at some point you guys are actually holding hands, you could say some cute shit or you say some teasy thing, and at some point you could give a little one. It's not like a romantic making out with her hand. It's a very little peck, right? Very, very light but subtle, and it does start to break the kiss barrier. There was a date I was on, I remember this one time, and I was touching the girl a little bit. We were laying on the couch and she was talking about how she got bruises on her tricep. Because like I playfully pinched her at one point, even though she didn't have a bruise she was joking about. And I was like, no, you don't. I was like, come here. And I was like, my kisses will heal you. And I started kissing her on her tricep very lightly, right? It was a very playful thing. It was a joke. It was relevant, but it's also breaking the kiss barrier, okay? Just because I do that doesn't mean I can now lean in and kiss, but you guys need to get more comfortable kissing women. And I think a great way to do that without putting a tremendous amount of pressure on yourself or being able to smoothly escalate physicality is kissing other parts of her body, either playfully or in a serious way. I think a very, very powerful one. I don't think guys use this enough either. I'm putting this in the A tier. And if you're wondering how would you kiss her on the forehead, that would be more in like a comforting, protective kind of way. Like you gave her a hug at some point, you thought she was looking cute, you could just give her a little bit of a kiss on the forehead and you just move on and you keep talking. That can still be effective too. You don't need to do all of these. Maybe one or two of these concepts will fit your personality and your vibe. You do those once. Let's move into the next one, which is commenting on her scent or her perfume. I think if you're somebody who actually can pick up on perfumes and you're like very educated on scents and you can elaborate on what you like about the scent, that's a good way to compliment a woman. I don't think it's a great way to flirt with her, but it is making the interaction about her. It is commenting about something you like about her, and it's a genuine compliment at that. So for all of those reasons, I think it's moving into a flirty direction, but I don't think it's that flirty. And so it's good to do. I just think there's better concepts when it comes to flirting. I'm putting this at the bottom of the B tier. And let's go into the last one, which is telling the girl at some point, either through text or like towards the end of the day, saying like, I'm glad we met. I'm glad I met you. I don't like this concept by itself. I think just this statement, texting this or whatever, this is not flirty at all. I'd actually put that as a C tier. The way that this could be good though, is you throw some joke into it. So earlier in this video, I was talking about these ongoing jokes that you could have with a woman, and you could even throw those jokes in like this. If it's later on the date and you were genuinely glad that you met and you told her, I'm glad I met you, you can soften that up and not make it so cheesy and kind of calibrate it by throwing in the ongoing joke about, you know what, it actually wouldn't be so bad to go on that road trip, despite you being disorganized in our messy truck, but you know, you're good at cuddling. So yeah, I'll definitely consider, right? So you could stack any of these concepts on top of each other. That's why I wanted to lay out all of these different concepts, guys, to start getting your brain thinking about different ways that you could be flirting. Because essentially, it's not like you're gonna have one way to flirt. You have all of these different tools, right? I just listed out like 30 tools. Now you have all these different tools in your arsenal, and then you go on a 2, 3, 4 hour date with a woman, and as you're getting into different types of conversation, different threads coming up, doing different activities, there will be different opportunities to use these different tools. And you don't need to just abuse any one tool, but rather, if I have 5 different ways that I made it flirty over the course of an hour, some of them were touch, some of them was verbal, some of them were jokes, some of them were misinterpretation, some of them was like a bunch of these different concepts. Now it doesn't feel forced. It's a very natural progression. It doesn't come off try hard. And some of it was even the girl flirting with me. And that's the balance you want to really become good at flirting. Now, flirting is one aspect of running a really good interaction, but it's not the only thing. So if you want to make sure that you're running an entire interaction properly, be sure to check out this video here, or if you're done watching content and you're ready to actually transform your dating life, I'd love to help you make that transformation. You could click the link down below. There's an in-depth video where I talk more about my journey, my transformation, the clients I've helped, my coaching program, and how I can help you achieve your dream dating life. Click the link down below, check out that video, and you can apply to work with me directly. That's all for this one, guys. Peace out.